Wisconsin. We're going back to Point Place and back in time with the original Netflix comedy series, That 90s Show. That 90s Show is already a huge hit for the streamer. When it premiered, it instantly became one of Netflix's top 10 most watched series, and it's already been renewed for another season. So what are fans loving about the show? Well, let's start at the beginning. That 90s Show is a reboot of the hit series That 70s Show. If you remember, That 70s Show originally aired on Fox and premiered in 1996, and it introduced us to some of the megastars that we have in Hollywood today, like Ashton Kutcher, Topher Grace, Mila Kunis, and lots more. The show revolved around Eric Foreman, who's just your typical teenager living in the 1970s. When he's not spending time with his super energetic mom and his really grumpy father, he's hanging out with his 5 best friends. There's Hyde, there's Kelso, there's Kelso's girlfriend Jackie, there's foreign exchange student Fez, and then there's Donna, the girl next door, who Eric has had a crush on forever. We got to see this group of friends go through their teenage years and all the way into adulthood with the music, the clothes, and the pop culture of the 70s as their backdrop. There were so many fun adventures that the group got into, whether it was at the water tower, at the local record store, or just hanging out in Eric's basement. The show was super funny and had so many great guest stars. But it also introduced us to one of the best TV couples of all time, Eric and Donna. And it's the reason why Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis are currently a super couple in Hollywood. But more on that later. In That 90s Show, we're skipping forward 15 years since we last saw the gang. It's the mid-90s and Eric and Donna are married and have a kid of their own. Her name is Leia. Leia's still finding herself. She's in those kind of awkward teenage years where she still doesn't know who she is, but she is definitely not the most popular girl in school. So when 4th of July comes around, Leia's parents decide to take her back to their hometown. And it's a nice break from reality for Leia, especially since her only plans for the summer are going to space camp with her dad. In Wisconsin, Leia doesn't have to be the same girl that she is back home. Instead of living with her overly protective parents who still think of her as a little girl, now she's staying with her grandma Kitty, who is super cheerful and optimistic and happy to have kids back in the house, and her no-nonsense grandpa Red, who hasn't really changed much since the last time we saw him. Soon Leia meets Gwen, the girl who lives next door. Gwen is cool, rebellious, hardcore, she loves grunge, and she loves going on adventures that hopefully her mom won't find out about. Her and Leia become friends, and Gwen decides that she's going to help Leia come out of her shell. This is where we meet the friend group of the show. Gwen introduces Leia to her best friend Ozzy. Ozzy is sassy and superior and is responsible for a lot of the laughs we get throughout season 1. Then there's Gwen's half-brother Nate. He's strong and athletic and easily excitable. He's the ultimate bro. Then there's Nate's girlfriend Nikki, who's stylish and smart. And then there's Nate's best friend Jay. Jay is a charming ladies' man, he's flirty, and he has the best 90s hair. Leia is having a great time with her new friends, and that's when she decides that she wants to stay in Point Place with her grandparents for the rest of the summer. It takes some convincing, but once her parents agree to let her stay, she is in for the summer of her life. One of the best aspects of That 90s Show is seeing how Gwen and Leia become best friends. Leia wants to loosen up a bit, and Gwen is the perfect person to help her out. In one episode, Leia admits that she hasn't had her first kiss, even though she really wants to. So Gwen decides to take her to the mall. Maybe there they can find a guy that Leia could kiss. But things don't exactly go according to plan. With no luck finding a guy at the mall, Leia decides she's going to try to get Jay to kiss her since he's a huge flirt. But when Leia tries this, Jay surprises her. He says that he wants her to be more than just a random hookup. Jay says he thinks Leia is really special and wants to see if maybe during the summer, the two of them might develop into something a little more than friends. This surprises Leia, but it gives her a new lease on life. She even goes back to the mall and kisses one of the guys in the ice cream shop. But she still can't stop thinking about Jay. It's really interesting to see the two of them go through a will they, won't they kind of thing before they actually become a couple. Another new character on the show is Sherry, who lives next door. She's Gwen and Nate's mom. She's a little bit out there, but she wears a lot of fun 90s outfits. She's fiery, just like her daughter Gwen, and because of that, the two of them butt heads pretty often. But she's a fun addition to the show, and it's really nice to see how she interacts with the kids versus the grandparents, and even some very memorable Point Place alumni. I don't want to give everything away, but one of the alumni that she interacts with the most is Fez. In fact, the two of them start dating, and it's really nice to see how they grow their relationship. They're both wild cards and they're both really funny, so they make a really excellent pair. One of the best moments in that 90s show comes in its very first episode when we first meet Jay. Turns out, Jay is a Kelso. That's right, his dad is Michael Kelso, played by Ashton Kutcher, and his mom is Jackie, played by Mila Kunis. And the two mega Hollywood starlets are reprising their roles for the first time since That 70s Show ended back in 2006. It is so fun to see their characters back in Point Place and back in the Foreman household. But even better, it's so much fun to see Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis back on screen together again. They have amazing chemistry and fall back into their characters perfectly. And what's really fun is that their son Jay Kelso is a great combination of the two of them. It's not long before Leia starts to have really intense feelings for Jay. Can you imagine a Foreman and a Kelso together? Her grandparents were not prepared for that, but it definitely makes for a really fun show. That 90s show is quick and fun just like its predecessor, plus it also has a great share of really sweet, heartfelt moments. There's some great LGBTQ representation in the show, and there are a ton of fun 90s references, from Lip Smackers to Beverly Hills 90210. Be sure to keep your eyes peeled for a lot of fun guest stars, and of course some familiar faces that are going to return to Point Place. Season 1 concludes with Leia saying goodbye to Point Place as the summer comes to an end. And no spoilers, but the season finale introduces a new love triangle that is definitely going to make Season 2 really interesting. And it brings up a lot of questions for Season 2. Are we going to have to wait until next summer for Leia to come back to Point Place? How is she going to be different? How are her friends going to be different? Is she still going to have the same feelings for Jay? Guess we'll just have to wait and see. So we want to know, have you been watching that 90s show? What did you think? Let us know your favorite moments and who you want Leia to end up with. Don't forget to subscribe to Young Entertainment Mag. See you next time!